Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grab Your Keys. Now, remember, if you like this interview and it's going to be an amazing one, please make sure to share and like. But Danielle Wilkie, who's the founder and CEO of the Helm, she has been a veteran tech for 25 years. She was the president of Compass Real Estate, and now she has her own platform, a coaching platform, which is so needed for women real estate agents. She's out there empowering women to be the best that they can be at every stage of life. So listen to this. There's lots of fantastic nuggets, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Grab Your Keys. Okay, everybody. So now that we've talked about our girl problems of hair and makeup and glasses, so Danielle, I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today. You are definitely a rock star, founder, CEO. You have been like a entrepreneur of many different things, many different things when I looked at your bio over the last 25 years with, a veteran in the tech sector, B2B, B2C. Like, what would you say your business is? Or what's your,
what am I doing now?
Career of choice right now?
Well, I know I'm so fortunate. I got into real estate in 2019 because Compass had called.
Right.
And they were like, hey, we're opening Colorado markets. The time I was in Denver, I still am. And we would love for you to help us launch our Colorado markets. And I thought, are you calling the right person? Like I'm tech. I haven't spent tons of time in residential real estate. And they said, oh yeah, no, this is exactly the right person, because their intent was really to try and bring in leaders who were coming from the tech side and the real estate side and bring them both together. So I joined the residential real estate space in July of 2019 as part of Compass and ended up growing very quickly with that business and loved it. I was like, whoa. I mean, one of the reasons I decided to take the job, Sue, was because I absolutely loved that this was an industry full of women.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, that is so rare and so hard to find. And I thought I would love to be surrounded by women entrepreneurs every day. And so I was, and it was spectacular. And
you got bitten by it.
Right? Totally. And the relationships, and just, you can see how it's very female forward in a lot of ways, just in the way the business runs. And I just loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I decided to leave Compass in 2023 because while I was there, we had launched our coaching at Compass. And during that process, there were so few women at a national level. And I thought, oh, I'd really love to solve that problem. So the Helm, which is where I'm at now, I'm the founder and CEO of the Helm. We launched officially in the fall of 2024, so just almost 6 months ago. And our focus is to close the gap of women who are coaching at the national level versus who we see in the industry. In fact, the number is pretty stunning. If you look at it, it's, you know this. In residential real estate, it's like 66% women, 65% women agents. And on a national coaching level, it's less than a third. So 2/3 of the industry is women, less than 1/3 are actually coaches. So we love the idea of bringing more diversity and choice to coaching options in real estate.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I know that you're in real estate, I'm in mortgage. They kind of marry each other and live hand in hand. But you see the same thing in mortgage. Like most of the back office is all women. And now the trajectory of women salespeople in mortgage is, definitely up there. And I think that we pretty much see the same exact thing.
Yes.
And I love that you have a devoted real estate platform, the Helm, who really is trying to help women, coach women, empower women to think bigger, be bolder, have confidence, all those things, because a lot of the time it's the mom who wants to, have flexibility with their schedule to get the kids to school. Now, a lot of the kids are all in school. They can devote their time, and they get more business because they have the empathy of understanding what the mom's dealing with.
Truth. I mean, what really used to burn my tail around this whole thing was I was like, why are all these women just working for guys?
Right.
Like you're just an hourly employee. You can own your own brand. You can own your own business. You can do your own thing. So we see women do that, you know, in the mortgage space. We see women do that in real estate. And why shouldn't we see women do that with coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. What do you feel 3 keys to success are in either building your brand and building your business, whatever that business is, but let's just focus a little bit on real estate.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel the 3 keys to success are as you're coaching other women coaches?
I have a couple here. So the
Okay,
first
go
one I
ahead.
would say key to success is we're actually teaching this. We're running a Kickstarter program right now for women who are launching their businesses. And we're talking about this. We just discussed it last week. And one of the things that we talked about is this idea of unhooking from praise and criticism. So we, especially women, especially like driven, powerful women, can sometimes be hooked to this idea that like they're doing things for praise. Like if I do this thing, I'll have a great response. If they do this thing, they'll feel really good, which we're all servant leaders, like a lot of servant
Right.
leaders here who love. But when you are unhealthily attached to that, it takes you down a very, very difficult path, usually leading to burnout and overwhelm.
Right.
The
Because you're
second,
like, I want it. You are living on a high.
Mhm.
And it's like crack. You're like, I want the high. I got to get the high. I got to sell the house. I got to get the deal. I have to get on that computer at 9:30. I don't have any boundaries.
That's right. Yep. And I'm doing it because I need to take care of them. And they want me to, I'm going to do a good job. And I want them to tell me I'm doing a good job. So that's like unhooking from that praise. And then the other side is unhooking from criticism, because we talked about when you're doing big things, when you step out and you start to do bigger things in your life, you will invariably be hit with criticism. There's no way to not do big things and not have critics. And so I think a lot of people just choose to not play bigger because they are terrified of what the critics are going to say. And so it's like, well, if you can unhook from both those things, that's a pretty good start.
Right. And unhooking from both of those things will let you go to the next level
Right.
because you're not putting the wall up so that you're not getting that feedback.
You
And
stay
that,
safe and small.
yeah, no,
Mhm.
there's no, play big or go home.
That's right. That's
So
right. That's exactly right.
you're
So
going to get both.
you're going to get burned. People are not going to like you, but that's all right. Second thing I would say is making sure that you are showing up in your business as who you really are. I think in real estate, this can get muddled because people are like, well, she is doing this or he is doing that. And I need to fashion my stuff after that person because they're successful. And what happens is you just lose yourself along the way. And you know this better than anyone, Sue. Like one of the reasons there are so many different realtors in the US and mortgage, folks in the US is because people want to work with people that are like them, that they
Right.
like, that they trust. There's not just one flavor, there should be many flavors. And if you abandon yourself to try and be somebody else, it will backfire and fall apart on you. I don't know. Does that ring true to you
And
at
I
all?
think that you also lose who you are. And then you have to be like, okay, I have to start over again to find out who I am, unpeel that onion of all the walls that have been built up, really from not having the coaching to understand who you are.
That's
Because a
right.
lot of the time, am I mom? Am I wife? Am I, mortgage person? Am I realtor? Like, who am I? And I always said that when I ran my 5-ring circus when my kids were growing up, I would leave the office. I have a 7-minute commute. I'd be on the phone during that 7 minutes, and then I'd have to like change the hat. And sometimes my kids got the manager, and
Yeah.
I would have a tone, or I would hear you have a tone, and that's the partner saying you have a tone, and then you're like, do I have a tone?
My
Yeah, I'm a
husband used to
manager
call
right now. Like,
My
who
husband
am
used to
I?
call it like DW speak. Like I'd come home and he'd be like, "Oh, are we running a meeting here? Like what's
Yeah,
happening?" You're like,
right,
"I'm
because
gonna
you
need
don't
you to
have enough
follow up."
time to switch that hat,
Exactly.
and you're like,
Driving.
driving it. So, what's the third?
The third one is that nothing happens overnight. I think we are just becoming addicted to this idea of overnight transformations, and
Immediate
it's
gratification.
immediate gratification. It's just not true and it's not real. And if you start thinking that that is real, you will always think you're failing.
Right.
But
I see that a lot in social media.
yes,
I mean, you know the difference. You're a marketing specialist,
yes,
and there's definitely a strategy between, branding and marketing. And when you put it yourself out there, everybody's like, "But I'm not getting deals from it." Well, right, it's not a magic wand that just because you put something up on social media that you're going to get deals from it. It's not going to be a lead generation, you know, machine. You really need to cultivate it and work on it, and it
right.
doesn't take a month, it takes years.
That's exactly right. I mean, if you look at the people who've been most successful in their professions, like you, Sue, like other incredible real estate agents that I know, they have spent years building their book of business
Right.
and their operations and the way they deal with their clients, you know? So I just think that you have to remember that. Otherwise, you're going to be
Yeah, it
disappointed.
was so funny. I got a referral today that I called right before your telephone call, or right before this meeting. And I was on the phone with this person who's buying their first house. And I said, "Where do you live now?" And they said, 832 so and so Lane. And I said, "God, that sounds familiar." And then I had them, I knew their first name, but they knew that their last name was hard to spell. So I went back and I said, "Spell your last name." And when he spelled it, I said, "Wait, I think I did your parents' mortgage." I mean, I'm
No.
totally dating myself now. And he said, "Oh no, your company sounded familiar to them. You did do their mortgage." And I said, "That's so super cool. Please tell them that I said hi."
Wow.
And it's so funny how building that database, being in the business forever,
Yes.
making sure that you have all the pillars in how you're running your business, so that when you put it in when I did put in the address and the last name, it did pop up and it showed me that I had done their mortgage in 2015. But having those systems so that you can refer back to it and say, "Oh, that's why it sounded so familiar. That's
Yes.
why I remember not being able to spell it 10 years ago."
That's
So,
amazing.
and knowing that, and I pull lots of realtors that I do business with and say, "Look, I've done business with them now for decades." People say, "How did they get so popular?" It's been decades. It's
It
taken
takes
them
time.
decades to have the reputation in the business, and being in the PTA for 12 years and going through to be like the
That's
person
right.
of their area.
That's right. It just
It's
takes
not
time.
overnight at all.
Yeah, so don't give up, don't
It
give
does
up.
take time, and it does take being at all those networking events, and really you're right. It's unhooking from praise and criticism, making sure to show up with who you are, because that's people know, like, and trust you. Know, like, trust, refer.
Yep.
And nothing happens overnight. And it's hard for people like me. I'm an immediate gratification person who has no patience, yet in my business, I have to have those things.
I know. It's hard.
I
It's
know
not
it really
easy.
is hard. It
Yeah,
really is hard.
yeah.
What's one challenge that you have faced that has shaped who you are today?
One.
Just, I know there's so many, right? You just said three, right?
Oh my gosh, exactly. One challenge that shaped who I am today. I went through, I think it was probably when I was in my early 40s. Um, I had two young children, very young children. And I had not, up until then, it had been my husband, my partner, and my work. Those are
Hmm.
sort of like the two, because I love to work. That's
Right.
just who I am. I enjoy work.
I get that too.
Some people are like that. Some people, and I could just work as much as I wanted because I loved it. And then all of a sudden I had two kids under the age of 5, and that wasn't going to cut it anymore. And I was just at my absolute wit's end. I mean, people would be like, "Well, you're so excited to go home and spend time with your kids." And I'd be like, "Well, yeah, but bath time with two boys under the age of 5 is probably way harder than whatever meeting I was in today." Like, it just was exhausting. And I loved them, but it was hard. And I think that was the moment where I was like, something's got to give here. Like, I can't keep living the way that I was living and have the life I want to have from a
Right.
family perspective. And I got some support. I got some coaching support. I got some therapy support. And I went deep on all my stuff because it was just a breaking point. And I think the work that I did in my early 40s is absolutely transformed me and turned me into who I am today and helped me be way more successful than I ever could have imagined had that not been the case. So I would say that was the moment that transformed me.
Yeah. And I love what you said, because especially for working women and working moms, it is super hard. I mean, I'm going to have this podcast for all the working moms out there. It's really hard when you go to the Starbucks and you're totally suited up like pre-COVID, and you just dropped your kids off because you had to get up, you had to get dressed, you had to get the kids in the car to drop them off to be in car line on time. And then finally you're like, I can't wait to go to Starbucks. And it's before they had all the drive-throughs.
Totally.
And you'd be in line and the moms would have all their yoga pants and their workout clothes, and they'd be like, you look so pretty. You look so put together. How do you do it? And you're like, how do you not do it? What are you talking about? But I always said like the Starbucks line was like my walk of shame.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. Well, we took our kids to a school where a lot of the parents at preschool, both parents worked, if there were two parents in the household. And some of the moms that I met during that time are still some of my dearest friends, because you are like literally doing battle every day and you're racing through the hall to get out the door, to get to your work, to do whatever you need to do while your kid's hanging on your leg and they're snotty all over your shirt and you forgot. And literally the other moms would come down the hall and they would just like look you in the eye for like 1 second. And sometimes I'd almost start crying because I was like, just that one look, I was like, you totally know what's happening. And they would be like, you got this.
Yeah, you have.
And
That's why I say the 5-ring circus.
Oh,
and how do you know when to ask for help, and why do women feel it's not okay to ask for help? That's what when I was in a seminar a long time ago, and they said, figure out what you made for the year, work 40 hours a week. What's your hourly wage?
oh yeah,
You
totally.
can hire someone to do what you're doing for minimum wage or less, then you should hire them to do it. If you don't like doing it, hire somebody to do it.
Totally.
And that was amazing to me to hear that.
Totally.
But some women will not get the person to help at home, will not get the person to do the groceries, or even do groceries online. There are so many things you can do. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, I'll just speak from my own experience. I think that there was just this intense desire to prove that I could do it. I think there was just this thing that like, I can be a mom. I can do, have an incredible professional career. Like I can do it. There was like this like chip on my shoulder a little bit about it. Like I'm going to prove that I can do this all the way to my grave. I'm going to prove. What do you think, Sue? I mean, what do you see?
I agree. I had to realize that it just wasn't going to work.
Yeah. No, you reach a breaking point.
I couldn't succeed at work and succeed as a mom. So when I came home, I didn't want to be the one who was doing homework and cooking dinner. I wanted dinner to be somewhat ready for me to heat it up and get it on the table. But I didn't want to fight with my children about school. I know. Like I just wanted it to be done. And I wanted to be the mom that got them in bed, got them ready for bed, watched TV with them, read a book, and, put them to bed. I wanted to be the one that take them to school and then put them to bed. And that's actually when I think that my children, who are 24 and 21 now, like both of us have grown children, would say that they really appreciate the mom time that they had with us, because we did realize like we couldn't be everything to everyone. Like I even realized I was a really bad wife. I couldn't give it all to everybody. Like I just couldn't do it. So I had to cut, there had to only be one chief, and that was going to be me. So, I didn't have to be a mom to 3. So just didn't have to do it. So I was going to be a mom to my 2. Well, I think you think that that's okay to realize. And I think women have a hard time in feeling that they didn't fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Asking for help is not failing, but it can feel like that, I think, at times.
Exactly. So the real estate industry. So great that you're doing coaching right now for the real estate industry and all those women. I know some of the coaches you have are amazing. The real estate industry is evolving so much right now, so fast, so exciting. Like, where do you see everything evolving?
I mean, this is my favorite topic right now because I mean, one of the reasons I came to real estate beyond just the fact that it's full of women was I've been in enough industries who have gone through the transformation that real estate is going through right now. And I have seen the before and after, and I was like, ooh, this could be a lot of fun, right? Like it could be really, and I know fun change is not always fun for everybody. So I don't mean to like minimize people's experiences. I know some of this is very scary and hard, but as someone who has seen it happen time and time again, I'm telling you, it's actually more exciting than you think.
Right.
Because what happens is the best of the best end up at the top. And I think, you know, for very many reasons, which we don't have to go into detail, I just don't think the industry has gotten the cred that it deserves. And some of it is that there's people in this space who probably shouldn't be in this space and kind of give everybody else a bad reputation. So in my mind, anything that is about raising the bar from a professionalism perspective, helping people generate more business and more wealth through their businesses, through real estate, this is a good thing. You know, like the people are not going anywhere. This is something I've learned. I mean, I had a lot of friends from tech. And when I came to real estate, they were like, what are you doing? Like, shouldn't real estate just like, do we need agents? Like, what's going on? And I came over here and I learned so much about how it all worked and how it went on. And I remember going back to them saying, there are always going to be people involved. Now, the market may segment. You may have different houses at different price points who have different levels of service and support. But I'm telling you, for the majority, you're going to have humans involved. And that is so exciting. It's
I don't feel that you can ever take the human element away from things. I feel the same way with regards to mortgage. Like, how are you going to explain points, interest rates, why FICO scores, percentage down, different programs? Like, they can't just push buttons unless you're a perfect vanilla buyer, and there are no such things. And you really need an agent to help guide you along. How are we going to figure out how the agents who do no business during the course of a year are going to continue to stay in that business or do the one deal? How does that end up?
Well, I think what's going to happen is consumers are going to get savvier and savvier
to realize who are the ones.
Yes, they're going to start asking much harder questions. It's not going to be just the woman who lives next door to me or the man who lives next door to me. You know, like if he sells one house a year, even though he's your neighbor, maybe that's not the right choice. You know, I think they're going to start to expect quality and professionalism at a whole different level. And so when they're interviewing people, when they're deciding to work with people, they're going to be more educated. I mean, AI is going to make everyone more educated about everything. And so if you think your advantage is just content or data, you're in trouble. Like your advantage is your expertise, you know, your customer service, your ability to deliver. Like those are things that are going to matter. And unless you're doing multiple deals, you're just not going to be able to deliver at the level that someone who's more sophisticated
is. Even having the negotiating skills and people knowing who you are, doing business with you, and the marketing and the AI. I mean, I can't even imagine people who don't use AI on a hourly basis. I mean, I practically have my AI on my phone constantly. It was something happened that it wasn't hearing me like the other day, and I was like, what is wrong with the AI? What's one piece of advice that you use all the time?
Make decisions with your head, your heart, and your gut. I think as someone who, and you know, we describe this in the work that we do around conscious leadership as the full body yes. And I think that we are trained in business in particular to be very logical. We are very head driven. What's the pros and cons list? What are the numbers? What does the data tell us? All of that. And we don't always check in with our heart. How do we feel? And then our gut, which is sort of that intuition. You can use whatever word you want, but that like knowing that you have, and all three are important. You shouldn't make decisions with just one of those centers. But if you can make a decision knowing that you've checked in with all three, your decision making is going to be better.
So go back 30 years to your younger self, and you would probably tell them the 3 keys to success, and the head, the heart, and the gut. Is there something besides that you would advise your younger self?
Yeah, I mean, I would say work really hard in your 20s. Like, work hard. Like, that is the time to figure things out. And you're not going to figure things out if you're just, flitting from thing to thing. Like, go figure it out. Work hard at whatever you do, and good things will come.
Yeah, I love that. I think that the harder you work, the more doors open for
Yes,
you. The
especially,
more doors that open up, the more you can walk through those
yes,
doors and have those opportunities.
yes,
And it's when hard work, I always say success is when hard work and luck meet,
yes, yes,
because you
yes.
have to have a little bit of luck with a lot of hard work
Yeah,
to
it's so
find success.
true. It's so true. I've had some women who I've worked with who are in their 20s now, and they're always like, "Well, how do I get my next thing? How do I get the next whatever?" And I say, "Do the thing you're doing right now really well, and that is how you're going to get your next thing." Because either the deal you're doing with that person will refer you, or the person you work for will help you find your next job. Like, just do this job really well, and that will help take care of what's next.
Yeah. So you have the Helm.
Yeah.
People can get in touch with you by going on LinkedIn or by
Yes.
your website,
Yes.
HELM. And what's in the future for Danielle?
Yeah. Well, I think I'll say this. The best place to find us is at our website,
The
the-helm.com.
Dash Helm.
And or find us on Instagram. We're at Wisdom from the Helm is our handle, and we'd love to see you there. What's next for us? We actually have some really cool new things planned for this year for the Helm. We are going to be using AI in some really cool and interesting ways, and we're looking to expand our platform, bringing more and more women into the mix here. So I'm actually just focused there. Like, beyond that, I don't know. This
Yeah.
is this is my life's work, Sue. Like, I know I'm doing my life's work, and so this is where I want to be.
Yeah. So I love helping women help empower other women. I
Yes.
think that it's so important in our careers and in other industries too, because I believe that women should be so much farther ahead than they actually are right now. And I know people just want to like slap my wrist for saying that, but it's the truth. And we just have to really empower one another and really build one another up so that we can really succeed in real estate and mortgage. So I love everything that you're doing, Danielle. As soon as I heard about the Helm, Elizabeth told me about, I said, oh my gosh, I have to get in touch with her. I have to talk to her. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'm always here for you. So,
Thank you.
so all you real estate agents, if you haven't connected on Instagram, you should definitely connect. There's a wealth of information. They're absolutely amazing. And thank you so much for sharing so much of what you did today with us.
Great. Thanks for having me, Sue. It was a pleasure.
Have a great day. So everyone, if you like this, please share. And I can't wait to see everyone next time on Grab Your Keys.